Hey guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Mabel Onwimele. Maybe one of these days I'll be telling you the meaning of my name. It's very interesting. So if you're new on my channel, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be talking about something very beautiful today. It's just my own way of encouraging people who still have faith in humanity, who still have faith in morality. I know that the society we are living in does not support morality. In fact, the society says morality is bad. The norm has turned now to abnormal. Why the abnormal is the norm now. But today, I want to encourage young girls and young boys who are still holding up on their bodies till after marriage, or who are still holding up till their values and personal conviction about morality till their wedding night. So sit back, grab your popcorn. I'll be right back. Okay, like I said, my name is Mabel Onwimele, and I came from a very humble home. I came from a home where my parents were very strict, and my thoughts about morality didn't start just because I got born again or I went to church. I never went to church when I was growing up as a child because my parents were not going to church. So growing up, I developed this love for morality, love to do good things, love to be nice, love to help my fellow man, love to, until at age 7 or thereabout, a neighbor came into our house. That was when this neighbor begged my parents to begin to take me to church. So being in church now amplified what I already had about morality. To the extent that you may say, oh, this is like 20 years ago or like 30 years ago. Those things are no longer obtainable now. But I tell you, this is my personal opinion about this thing, because most of the problem that people or married individuals are having is because of the kind of background they had or the kind of values they have. And when these values are into play, it informs who they marry, it informs how they live their life, it informs how their marriage turns out to be. So as an individual, a boy, a girl who is intending to get married and live happily in future, or a young lady who intends to marry and live happily, I expect you to listen to me and do something about your sexuality, because whatever you do while courting is exactly what you see in your marriage. There is no two ways about these things. The humanity or the world thinks these things is always good because it's a shortcut. See, there is no road. Show me a road today that is straight. I will show you a road that is leading nowhere. Whatever you do in life, get set to bear the consequences of your decisions or your actions. Whatever I am today is linked to the decisions I made yesterday. So I am personally talking today about how to stay sexually pure before marriage, or how to stay sexually pure while dating. In our time, we didn't date. A man sees you, he says, I want to marry you, and you say, okay, give me some time, I'll pray about it, or let's see. There was nothing like dating during that time. But this is 21st century. You need to date, you need to get engaged, you need to learn one or two things from this man, know who they are, know what they do, know where their house is, know everything about them. Like Pastor Kingston Kwankwas, he says something, and it really rang a bell in my spirit. He says, whoever, the lust you refuse to deal with now will follow you into marriage. Listen, marriage does not change a man. If you are a fornicator, definitely you'll be an adulterer in marriage. And if you couldn't control yourself while you are dating or while you are engaged to your partner, you couldn't control yourself, there is every likelihood that when you travel or your partners travel, you will not be able to control yourself. So these things are the true facts about life. But most people, they trivialize it because they feel we are living in a free world. Do what makes you happy, live your truth, live your deeds. I see so many acronyms to these things, but listen, these things does not work the way it sounds. I need you to take control of your life and see how your life will play out. Like I was telling you my personal story, my conviction about these things started from way back while I was very, very young. And when my husband came into my life, he just told me he wanted to marry me. And I told him, well, I don't know you. Let's see how it goes. You know, it took me some time before I could give him my response. I will marry you. Yes, it took me 1 year and 7 months before I could give him my response. He was my 16th suitor. He was my 16th suitor. I knew what I wanted. Most of these men, they had money. They are the ladies' men that today's century women will go after, But I was looking for something, and I saw it in this young man that just left school, that just finished his service here and was, believing God for a job. And I was able to stay with him. I grew with him. Gradually, we became engaged. Gradually, we began to know each other. There is nothing we did not discuss about our marriage. While the 2 years of our courtship, we discussed our sex life. We discussed our financial life. We discussed our health. We discussed children. We discussed everything that there is to discuss, because that's what courtship is meant for. Most young persons go into courtship as a license to have sex. Sex is sacred. That you are engaged to that man, engaged to that woman, does not give you license to have sex. You may say, yeah, the society endorses it, social media endorses it. The norm is now the abnormal. The abnormal is now the norm. People get naked on the street. Nobody frowns on them because it is a norm now in the society. But I'm still encouraging that one boy. My message is not for everyone. That one boy, that one girl that still believes in self-esteem, her self-esteem, that still believes in self-dignity, that still believes in empathy, that still believes in self-love, that you can actually hold yourself till after marriage. There are so many ways that you can affirm if your partner is real sexually, if they can perform, if they are healthy. There are so many ways you can get to know. The hospital that are there. I told a story of a sister of mine who got engaged and was so concerned about knowing if this man can have erection, can have sex, can stand as a real man when the real show starts. And I gave her ways she can find out. In fact, if you don't have self-control, there are things I cannot even recommend for you to do. But one of the things this lady did was, first of all, to visit the hospital with the said man. They ran all necessary sex tests. The man even did fertility tests, did sperm, everything that has to do with being healthy. The man took all the tests. She too took all the tests. At the end of the day, the man came, spent a week in her house. She told me, she said, when the man was sleeping, the man used to have early morning erection. But they determined in their self that they were not going to do it. And of course, they have self-control. They did not do it. I don't know what works for you. You know what works for you. But I want to quickly tell you ways you can actually live a pure sexual life while you are engaged or you are dating. It's actually very, very important. One, you won't kill your trust there, because when a man is in love with you, there's every tendency, is in flesh. He cannot control himself. As a lady, I remember when I was engaged to my husband, I asked him while we were married now that if I had given in, then would you have done it? He said, before uncle, I will do it. Because he was already in love. Even the mere touching the hair alone, touching your fiancé's hair or your girlfriend's hair, you're already gone. Because you are a man, you are in flesh and blood. These things happen, but you must be deliberate and intentional about your self-control so that you'll be able to live without committing these things while you are courting. How to be sexually pure while dating your partner. One thing you need to do is to guide yourself against it. Like I said, you know what works for you. I don't know what works for you. I know what I did while I wanted to know if the man was okay sexually. I didn't have to sleep with him. Even after my traditional marriage, I didn't sleep with my husband until we went to church to be joined together in holy matrimony in the presence of God's people. That was my personal decision. And I told him before I got engaged to him that this is the promise I made to God. I know what I'm talking about is not a general opinion. People don't buy this opinion anymore. Morality does not sell anymore. But this is what I believed in. And I was able to live it. And today, I am getting the blessings because I honored God with my body. Because he has said in his holy book, he said it in his word, and a bed undefiled. Once that bed is undefiled, there is a special blessing for it. I didn't do that for my husband. I did it for me. I didn't keep my virginity for my husband. I kept it for me. I was telling someone this morning, I said, there's something that people don't know. If you are engaged to someone and you don't sleep with them and eventually something goes wrong, he only took your time, but he didn't take something from you. He only took your time. And that time, by the special grace of God, you'll be able to get back. But selling yourself, your dignity, your self-worth, your confidence, your virginity, your sweetness to one charlatan that doesn't deserve it is something that that young lady will regret for the rest of her life. But if you have done it, it does not mean you cannot retrace yourself and begin to live that life that God already ordained for everyone. For me, I'm telling you my own personal experience and my own personal conviction, which is still working till date. There are people. I wrote a book, my second book, Priceless Jewel, and I got a letter from a girl in Enugu State. She said, I haven't seen you before, but when I read your book, my faith in these things was restored. Because in school, I cannot tell my friends I'm a virgin. Because you cannot say it. Things are happening. You cannot say it. If you say it, that means you are one old school. They have different names for this set of people. But dare to be different in your generation. Dare to be different in your generation. Another way you can date without committing sexually is to date with purpose. You don't date because everybody is dating, or there's a man out there, everybody is married, you're not, or all your friends are engaged, you're not. Date with purpose. Go into that relationship with purpose. Have a sense of purpose. Have a definition of what you are going into. Know what you are going into. Know who you are in a relationship with. It's not something you just jump in and jump out because one A entered there and succeeded, the other one entered, so let me just go. No. Go into that relationship with purpose. And by the time it's time to formalize it, you'll be glad you did. And also set boundaries. A lot of people don't have boundaries. A man can just come, touch your butt, slap your butt, and you are laughing. A man can just come, slap your breast, and you are laughing. You have to set boundaries. There are people that are not supposed to talk to you in life, because we have a lot of charlatans who don't know what they want in life. Or you think every man that tells you I love you loves you? I'm in the midst of boys. I know what they discuss. When a man has sex with you, my girl posted something online, and he said, once the man, she was dating the man for 6 months, she never had sex with the man, but the minute the man has sex with her, the man began to run away. Why won't he run away? So you have to set boundaries. If you don't want sex, if you want it to be a sexless relationship, so shall it be. If he cannot wait for you, he can bounce, he can go. It's not something, it's not a do or die affair. You must align. You must align in value. You can't have someone who is sexually active, very sexually active, say you won't do sex, you will do sex before, you won't do sex before marriage. It won't work. So you must align in values. You must agree on certain things together. So if it's not workable, there is no need really. You need to take that out of your dictionary. Another way is to be accountable, accountability. You must be accountable, and you must have people you are accountable to. You must have people you are accountable to. Don't live a life of solitude. Nobody you talk to, you just make your mistakes, and no, life does not go that way. You must have people you are accountable to. You must have friends. Oh, babe, is any guy shaking you? Are you okay? Oh, I've tried this thing, it didn't work for me. How are you holding up? This conviction. When I was growing, we had 4 girls that determined we won't sleep with any man before our marriage. And we all were able to take it through. Just because we're accountable to us, to one another. So you must be accountable, so that when temptation comes, you will be able to flee. Another way you can also stay sexually pure is run when there is temptation. Run when there is temptation. The Bible says flee. You don't romance sin. You don't stay in the midst of, you know that, I'm going to take that topic on the 4 basic temperaments that we have and how they affect your sexuality. We have melancholies, we have choleric, we have phlegmatic, and we have sanguines. Now, sanguines are very highly sexually active. Very highly sexually active. So if you know my partner is sanguine and I'm melancholy, melancholies they are very slow in coming up sexually. It takes time. So if you know the weakness of your partner, you should be able to help each other. When temptation comes, don't romance it. Just run. When temptation comes, it's okay, let us pray. You don't pray. You don't pray. When a man is removing his clothes, you don't pray. Or he's removing you don't pray. You just run. All right, the last one is for you to realize the cost. What am I going into? Does it worth it? What do I stand to gain? What are the benefits? Why am I doing this? Why am I taking this decision? What is there that my generation will remember me for in this decision I'm taking? Count the cost. Put pen on paper. They always say that the smallest pen is bigger than the biggest brain. You need to count the cost. Put your pen on paper. Count your cost. If you're going to the market, you need to pull down some of these things that you need to buy. Count the cost. Know what it will cost you. Know what you have to put in. Know the energy you have to put in. Know everything. And at the end of the day, you will realize, oh, does it worth it? This virgin, does it worth it? Does it worth it? Society is doing it. Media is saying it's good. Everywhere I go, they're saying it is good. Does it really worth it? Is it okay? Since society says it's okay. After counting the cost, you will know if what you are venturing into is negative or positive. Conclusively, I want to tell you that eventually I was able to do it. I was able to keep myself till my wedding night. I remember when my wedding was 5 days to the date of the wedding. My fiancé called me then. He said I should come to the house. And when I got to the house, he showed me a small calendar. He said, 5 days time, I will see that thing you have been hiding. I will see it. He was so ecstatic. In fact, when I saw the wall, the calendar, every day he said 2 days to go. He's marking 4 days to go, 5 days to go. He was so enthusiastic. He wanted to just come in, you know, because he was a guy that was in love. But I was happy he was able to wait for me. Even after my traditional marriage, he told me, I said yes. He didn't, he just, you know, because he too was also waiting on the Lord. Today, that man that I said I married, that didn't have nothing when we started, that even when he got the job, he got his first job after he told me he was going to marry me, before you know, he began to grow. Today, we're no longer that small people that got married 22 years ago. Today we have grown, we have evolved. God has helped us. Everything we didn't have at the time when we started, God has given unto us. So there is blessing in waiting. And when you are waiting, you be joyful, be joyful in your wait, because God is a covenant keeping God. He can never fail. So young girl, young boy who is still waiting, who feels that society has failed them, everywhere they go, people are having sex, because sex is cheap. People are having sex everywhere, but they have chosen to honor God with their body. This is for you. You will not regret. In Isaiah chapter 50 verse 7, the Lord said, you will not be ashamed. I will help you. It was a definite help God promised you, and He will help you in every ramification of your life. So keep staying cool, staying clean, sexually clean till your wedding day. God will honor you. Thank you for listening. God bless you. Thank you for watching.